Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Here's an example. Last time I was looking at painters who represented the sea, not below the surface of the sea though, it's all above surface. And one of those painters was Winslow Homer, born in 1836 and died in 1910. And Winslow Homer, this is a book that shows a lot about his life and about contemporaries. In the front is this picture, and it shows a fisherman with his dog, and his fishing line goes out. I lose track of where it is there, but then it comes back here, and he's casting, and this is called a monochrome. It's a watercolor. He only uses white paper and black ink. And for things he wants to appear darker, he doesn't dilute it much, like the trees here in different parts. Things he wants to appear lighter, well, it's diluted a little more with water. And much more to get this light tan look. And things he wants to be white, he paints to leave white. I'm assuming that he's not allowed to use white, because in mono would mean only one. So that's my assumption. But maybe he did use white. I would think this would be very hard to do, to create a line. But it's possible. I didn't, I thought of that. And then, I started with the book, and here on the contents, and over on this page it says End Papers. 2 of Homer's monochrome watercolors painted in Canada during the summer of 1895 show men enjoying the artist's favorite sport, fishing. Front, fisherman, Lake St. John, Canada. Back, 2 men in a canoe. Okay, so I went to the back, and yes, for sure, there was another one there. Same sort of thing. And this is higher hills, just a hint of the trees on it, and then you've got a maybe closer down on that land mass, gets a little bit darker, Then we've got an island, and the reflection of the island, and here's the fishing line this time, and I lose track of it right about there. I would think it would just be extremely difficult to do, but that's just me. Now, I wanted to show you a couple of things in here. I'm only going to show you one of them. The other one I have to wait till another time, like the next time. But there he is in Maine, latter part of his life, and going to Canada in the summer. And he didn't always go to northern climes. He sometimes went down to the Bahamas. And this is a painting he did there, quite a famous painting of his, and looks rough water and stormy. And there's a boat. The Bahamian man from the Bahamas is is on deck there, and I can just make out a bit of the mast there, and I don't know because it's getting toward the crack, but it's broken off. So he's at the mercy of the water. He has no way to he'll be taken wherever the water takes him. Well, right now it feels like he's almost at the mercy of these two sharks. Now, where they, right here it says Gulf Stream, detail, 1899. Detail. Because over here is the original painting. Winslow Homer, original painting. And yes, we're seeing it just off this part of the ship right there. Well, there's more. So what's in that more? Well, I guess they didn't necessarily want to show that. They because it's mostly water, but there is a humongous shark over here that we don't see in this. And there is a water spout up here. And they're like a tornado. It happens over the water. And so they're sucking up water and fish. Winslow Homer says, you may inform people that the man did not starve to death. He was not eaten by the sharks. The water spout did not hit him, and he was rescued by a passing ship. Now, was that fictional? Was that, was he out in this stormy weather trying to paint this? Obviously at a sort of higher angle? Or is this just, he's painted so much, he senses so much that he's able to create this fiction? Well, I'll return to this book just for a little brief something else I want to share, because there's something about the next person I want to look at that I want to come back to next time. There's just not time enough to do it all this time, but if I'm quiet, it'll help. Aliki, my visit to the aquarium. My visit to the aquarium. And when we first moved to Victoria, there were two aquariums here. One was in the inner harbor. It just wasn't big, but you'd go in and be at the water level and walk around, and there'd be tanks with fish there, and the other was outdoors at a marina, and they had seals performing, and they had porpoise performing, and so here's indoors where you're getting your tickets and you're coming in, you're going around, you're going in through a tunnel, and I just wanted to show you, it's very handsomely done, and the varieties of creatures as that perspective of the tunnel getting bigger as you get closer here. Manta rays, all kinds of to look at, and so this is, I find, a really attractive way to introduce and talk about the various fish. There's a little information, and here it said, the aquarium in this book is invented, but it's based on several actual aquariums. National Aquarium in Baltimore, Monterey Bay Aquarium, Aquarium of the Americas, New Orleans, New Jersey State Aquarium. This was 1993, and I wanted to show you that. Whoa. And I want to show you the sharks. Oh, and somebody in the water with a scuba. And so in cursive, dogfish, shark, striped bass, and so I wanted to share that because I want to look at sharks this time and next time. And this is a biography. Shark Lady, The Adventures of Eugenie Clark. It's by Anne McGovern. And she was one of the scientists mentioned in those books about women scientists. And we read this to our second son. He was very interested in this. I'm going to read a little to you because there's some things I thought we could talk about next time. "Wake up, Jeannie," Mama called. "We have to go downtown soon." Eugenie Clark mumbled into her pillow. Who wants to go downtown on a Saturday? Saturdays are for climbing rocks and trees with Norma, her best friend. Saturdays were for digging up fat worms, bringing home bugs and snakes, making sure that Grandma didn't see them. Those were the good Saturdays, but today was different. Her friend Norma had to go shopping with her mother. Grandmother wasn't feeling well and needed peace and quiet. There was no place for a 9-year-old Eugenie to be except with Mama at work. Mama worked in a big building in downtown New York City. She sold newspapers at the newsstand in the lobby. In the rumbling subway train speeding downtown, Mama looked at her daughter's sad face and wished there was something she could do to make Eugenie happier. Eugenie's father had died when she was a baby, so Mother had to work extra hard to earn enough money to take care of the family. Working extra hard meant working Saturday mornings too. The subway train pulled into their station and they got out. A sign at the top of the subway stairs said, "To the aquarium." "A good idea," Mama said. "I'll leave you at the aquarium and I'll pick you up at lunchtime. That will be more fun for you than sitting around the newsstand all morning." Eugenie walked through the doors of the aquarium and into the world of fish. She walked among the tanks filled with strange fish. Then she came to a big, mysterious-looking tank at the back. She stared at it for a long, long time. The green, misty water seemed to go on and on. She leaned over the rail, her face close to the glass, and pretended that she was walking at the bottom of the sea. Eugenie went to the aquarium the next Saturday, and the next Saturday, and the Saturday after that. She went to the aquarium on all the cold Saturdays, the rainy and snowy Saturdays of autumn and winter. Sometimes her friend Norma came with her, but often she was alone with the fish. Eugenie tried to read about fish too. She read about a scientist who put a diving helmet on his head and went deep under the waves. He walked on the bottom of the sea with the fish swimming around him. "Someday I'll walk with the fish too," she said. In the summertime, Mama took her to the beach. Mama taught Eugenie to swim before she was 2 years old. When Mama came out of the water, her long black hair streamed down her back. Eugenie thought Mama looked like pictures she'd seen of beautiful pearl divers of the Orient. Mama was Japanese. Mama was a good swimmer, and in the summertime, Eugenie loved to watch her swim with long, graceful strokes. Now in the autumn and in the winter, Eugenie watched the very best swimmers, the fish in the aquarium. She found all the fish fascinating, the smallest fish glowing like tiny jewels, and the fish with fluttering fins that looked like fairy wings. But it was the biggest streamlined fish in the aquarium that she came back to again and again. She watched the big shark swimming, turning, swimming, turning, never resting its long, graceful body. She watched it and lost track of time. Mysterious shark, she thought. Someday I'll swim with sharks too. Good morning, Eugenie. Great weather for fish, the guard at the aquarium said one rainy Saturday. Eugenie laughed. Hi, Mr. Walker. Are my friends here yet? Mr. Walker nodded. Oh, yes, he said. They always show up on rainy days. He watched the skinny, dark-haired girl go through the door. Friends. Ha, he thought. Those good-for-nothing bums that come here to get out of the rain. Mr. Walker shook his head. Never saw anything like it. A bunch of bums paying attention to a little girl talking about fish. Inside the aquarium, Eugenie moved from one fish tank to another. A small group of men in dirty, worn-out clothes followed her. Hey, teacher, one man said, this fish has whiskers just like mine. Like the whiskers on a cat, too, Eugenie said. Maybe that's why it's called a catfish. See, watch how it uses its whiskers to find food on the bottom of the tank. The men always called her teacher, half in fun. One of her secret dreams was to be a teacher, like wonderful Miss Raleigh, her favorite teacher in all the world. Miss Raleigh took Eugenie's 4th grade class on field trips to the woods to gather moss, ferns, and salamanders. Eugenie hoped that they could come to the aquarium too. Miss Raleigh had said that she would like the class to see Jeannie's fish. Jeannie's fish. Jeannie's fish. An idea began to grow. And the next Saturday at lunchtime, the idea spilled out. Every Saturday, Eugenie and Mama ate lunch at a tiny Japanese restaurant owned by their good friend, Nobu-san. Today, Eugenie's mind was whirling with her new idea. Just think, she said, some people have beautiful fish in their own home and watch them all the time. Mama, Christmas is coming soon. Eugenie crossed her fingers and made a wish. After lunch, Eugenie and Mama went to the pet shop to pick out the Christmas present. They chose a large aquarium with gravel and stones. They bought plants to make it look natural. They bought some snails to keep it clean. Then came the best part, picking out the fish. They chose guppies and angelfish, green swordtails and black speckled redfish. Stop! Eugenie's mother laughed. I've spent more than I've planned for Christmas. Just then Eugenie saw a red-banded clownfish. Oh, Mama, could I have just one more? She begged. For my birthday? But your birthday isn't until May, Mama said. The clownfish swam to the front of the tank. It is pretty, Mama said. All right, we'll buy it. Before they left the shop that day, they lost track of how many years' worth of Christmas and birthday presents Eugenie had in advance. Before long, the small apartment was crowded with fish of all kinds. Mama became fascinated with fish too. Sometimes she'd bring home little white boxes with fish swimming inside. When that happened, Eugenie knew that Mama had spent her lunch hour and maybe her lunch money in the pet shop. Eugenie joined the Queens County Aquarium Society and became its youngest member. She learned how to keep good records of her pets. She wrote down their scientific names, the dates she got each fish, and what happened to them. When some of Eugenie's fish had babies, hundreds of tiny, wriggling fish filled the aquarium. Once, Eugenie thought of going into the fish business, selling baby fish, but Grandma said, no. Well, one thing leads to another. And she's charting a course here. There are probably, I think, some questions, and I want to just keep them on hold till the next video, because I think they're worthy of discussion. Now, speaking of questions, this book, done by Anne McGovern, who wrote this biography, is about sharks. And the illustrations are all monochrome illustrations, all done just with a pen with black ink. Where there's no ink, it's white. Cross hatches and the sharks in the sort of shadow of the shark and the all done with nothing but a black pen. Are all sharks dangerous? So right away I like a book that's got all these kinds of questions. What sharks are most dangerous? What's the biggest shark and what's the smallest shark? And those are sort of starting kinds of questions. Where do sharks live? What do baby sharks look like? Called pups. How does a mother shark care for her pups? And do sharks eat other sharks? What else do sharks eat? How often do sharks have to eat? How do sharks find their food? How do sharks use their teeth? What do sharks' teeth look like? Do sharks have enemies? Do sharks have friends? What do scientists want to find out about sharks? Well, I just thought, yeah, that's a kind of book that just, like Eugenie, of asking questions and trying to find answers and maybe keeping records. And anyway, until next time, thanks for watching and bye for now.